Yo, guys and girls, and welcome back to Corrosi, another episode. I was browsing YouTube the other day, and I come across some funny stuff. Well, I think it's quite funny anyway, because not too bad from a distance footballer, Alishia Lehmann. She ain't too bad from a distance. They go up close though. She's got terrible skin. Like, her skin is fucking terrible.
Who are you?
But anyway, that's not why we're here. Like, hot footballer Alishia Lehmann come out the other day and said something very, very funny. So Alishia Lehmann popped up the other day, and she believes that the pay gap between male and females is unfair, arguing that both are performing the same job, right? I do the same job as Douglas, our partner, and play for the same club, but I earn 100 times less. It's not fair. It's something that affects me because I'm a woman. Yeah, it will affect you because you're a woman, but you are doing the same job, but you're doing it at different levels. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like me trying to sell pottery without being able to do pottery, and then me going, well, my pot's just as good as the best potter in the world's pot because we do the same job. That isn't the way the world fucking works, is it? Like, the world doesn't work like that. So, as you can see here from the AI, it says the pay gap between her and Alishia Lehmann has said that her boyfriend, Douglas Luiz, earns 100,000 times more than her, despite both playing for the same club. They play the same sport and they both play for the same club. But if you put Douglas Luiz in women's football, he would be the greatest female footballer to ever exist. So it makes absolutely no sense. And this is the main reason I kind of come. Like, Alishia Lehmann was the like half of the reason why I come across like this video. But this video is FC Zurich lose 5-1 to a team of 15-year-old boys. So let's just have a little check of this, shall we? And just see if everybody's equal here. So it's the girls in red and the 15-year-old boys. Oh, almost crossed the line there though. Get a little replay on. Shout out to Women Football Highlights. Oh, he's tinged off the crossbar. Look. Great hit, great strike. So it looks like the women took the lead. They took the lead against the boys, the young 15-year-old boys. Which is fair enough. You've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? That's the way the world works. But then the boys went, look, we ain't going to have this. And then kind of started just to do this and just sort of play football. That's a ball, that is. Lads through, look. Look at the pace difference already. Like, these aren't fully grown men. There's a fundamental difference why the quality is different, and women will never be able to reach that quality. Like, they're never going to be as physically able, they're never going to be as physically strong, they're just not going to be able to do the things men do, which make the sport better itself. Great strike, great finish, and that makes it 2-1. And I think this isn't the only example. This is just the most recent example. Like, this video was uploaded a month ago. Now, physically, if you look at them, like, the boys are smaller. They're smaller. Like, they're not even fully grown lads. That's a great strike. She couldn't be out quick enough. So this is a professional Swiss football team against some lads. That is typical women's goalkeeping. That is pathetic. I also don't understand why they're so stubborn that they will not make the goal smaller. Just make it smaller by half a foot, by a foot. It doesn't need to be a lot, but it's like the WNBA. They're just so stubborn. Great strike. Boom, makes it 4. You see as well, a lot of these goals look like they've come in later on in the game. Oh, what a chip. So yeah, a lot of these goals came later on in the game. So 77 minutes, 80 minutes, 82 and 87, which to me shows that the guys got a lot stronger, but stayed stronger for longer, right? So they managed to put on a performance nearer the end. The women were in it until 77 minutes at 2-1. But after that, the stamina, the athleticism, and the kind of strength and physique of the boys managed to push through more. So there are countless examples of this. There's one from a year ago where they used 3-1. So what I thought I'd do is I thought, well, let's take a look at it logically. Let's try and find out where the biggest earning women's club are worldwide. So we're on Statistica here, which I'm guessing is a website for statistics. And here it says that Barcelona, in million euros, their revenue last season, so their overall profit to loss margin was 13 million. So they bring in, Barcelona women bring in 13 million. Like, Juventus aren't actually on this list. There you go, Juventus are there. They bring in, Juventus women, the team that Alishia Lehmann plays for, bring in 1.2 million euros. They did in the 22-23 season. Now, if we flip that over to the men, again, Juventus aren't quite on that list. Yes, they are. Juventus men, Juventus team, soccer clubs with the highest revenues in men. So that's the women's one there. Juventus women do 1.2 million euros. Juventus men bring in revenue 432.4 million euros. So yeah, she gets paid 100,000 times less, but their team brings in 100,000 times less. Does that make sense?
No, it does not.
So it's not even illogical to say that it's perfectly fair for a company, let's just imagine they're two different companies, that brings in 432 million, can pay their people more than a company that brings in 1.2 million, right? Is that unfair to say? Or is that just some common sense? Because I often tell Douglas Luiz, it's unfair. We do the same job, but he earns 100,000 times more than me. Again, Juventus bring in 1.2 million euros in the women's, and they bring in 432 million euros. So yeah, to me, it sounds about fair. Like, it sounds about fair. Like, when you look at the most, like, let's look at the least. So the least, the Marseille, with a revenue of 258 million on this list. I've got a sneaky feeling that's more than every single woman's one on this list. That doesn't come close to 100 million. It's not even close. So women's football overall in Europe doesn't generate 100 million. Like, in the overall entity of women's football, it doesn't generate 100 million pounds in the 2022-23 season. Now, the stats could be a bit more, but I couldn't imagine they're double. I couldn't imagine that's 26. I couldn't imagine that's 18. You know what I mean? 16. I couldn't imagine that's 14 million. I couldn't imagine it's doubled in 12 months. I could not imagine it. So what we're talking about from this unequalness, this unfairness, is that she wants to be paid more than her worth, basically. Because what else is there? You've got examples all over the internet of women's football teams losing to boys
here in the first half.
So just for like another example, women's football highlights is the bomb, man. It's a great little site for women's football highlights. But this is an example of ex-US women versus men, and the men win 12-0.
Lewis Lloyd trying
But
to
they
cross
don't.
in the middle, and a
The
first
boys
initial
don't even
shot down
take
the
it
header.
easy.
Another in the
They're
air,
having a
it's 2-0.
proper poplar.
Now the
You've got to have a
back post.
proper go to win 12-0, and you've got to have a proper go. So yeah, I just found it really funny that Alishia Lehmann thought that she was entitled to exactly the same pay because she does the same job. That's a dopey thing to say. Dopey, I do the same job as you. But you don't do it as good. Unfortunately, there are many reasons for that. Some of them can never be changed. Some of them are evolutionary. Some of them are genetic. Some of them can't be changed. But unfortunately, you're never going to do it to the same quality as the men. So yes, you do the same job, but you do it at vastly different levels. So I think I'm going to leave this here, as really there isn't too much more to say about it. Just when you look at the revenue, total revenue in millions in euros, total revenue in millions in euros. So it's exactly the same. If you combine that and that, you do probably get about 100,000 times more. So it is 100% fair. I'm sorry, Alishia Lehmann. You're either a dinlo, you can't count, or you didn't mean that. You genuinely were just like saying stuff because it genuinely is fair. Actually, in society, the wage gap itself is closing a lot, like women becoming, but in some parts of the Western world, women are earning way more than men due to finishing college, university, and all the rest of it. So it's actually a bonus to be a woman in the workplace at the moment. It really is a good time to be a woman. But unfortunately, just not in football. So on that note, that's going to be me. I hope this has made some sense. Much love and peace.